Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Wakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles, a great millstone, pushing his word truthfully and sincerely. Shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching his word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim that be like unto the speckled bird, pushing his word truthfully, faithfully, strongly, and sincerely. And I say shalom to you Akim out there. And this is another quick sit-down lesson on this Tuesday night, January the 11th, 2022. And I'm about to bring it out. And this is from Fox 8 News, published by Jeff Reeves. This was 8 hours ago from MSN.com. And the highlight of this news article, it says, U.S. Army to fight guerrilla freedom fighters in central North Carolina as part of an unconventional warfare exercise. It says Fort Bridge, North Carolina. A U.S. Army Special Forces candidate will take part in the final test of their qualification training later this month in an exercise that will cross much of central North Carolina. The Robin Siege training exercise will take place January 22nd through February 4th. Will students from the U.S. Army John F. Kennedy Special Forces Center and School at Fort Bridge. It says members of the military and civilians take part in Robin Siege as Special Forces student faces opposing forces of the fiction nation in Pineland. Military members are meant to say will pose an opposing force in guerrilla freedom fighters, also known as Pine Resistance Movement. In order to maintain a level of realism, blank gunfire and flares are used in the training, the Army said. The Army have been in contact with local public officials ahead of the training. It says controls are in place to ensure there is no risk to person or property. Residents with concerns should contact local law enforcement officials who will immediately contact exercise control officials. Fort Bridge officials said in a release, the Army said of the following measures have been implemented. Former written notification to the chief of law enforcement agencies with the effect of countries will a follow-up visit, form a unit representation. All civilians and non-students military participants are briefed on procedures to follow if there is a contact with law enforcement officials. Students will only wear civilian clothes if the situation warrants as determined by the instructors, and will wear a distinctive brown armband during these intense training areas, and vehicles used during the exercises are clearly labeled. It says during the 2002 training, Deputy Sheriff Randall Butler was shot and killed. The First Lieutenant Toss Timmy and the wounded Sheriff Sergeant Stephen Hibbs after the deputies saw their behavior as suspicious. Butler was unaware the training was occurring. And it says parts of Robin Siege will be held the following North Carolina counties: Oberlin, Empson, Bladen, Bushwick, Carrboro, Chatham, Columbia, Surblin, Davidson, Guilford, Hartnett, Hope, Lee, Montgomery, Moore, New Hanover, Randolph, Richmond, Robeson, Roman, Sampson, Scotland, Stanley, Union, and Wake County. And continuing on with the article of the reading, The training will also stretch in Chesterfield, Dimlon, and Marlborough counties in South Carolina. The Reuben Siege in the U.S. military premier unconventional warfare exercise and the final test over a year worth of training for aspiring special force soldiers candidates are placed in an environment of political instability characterized by armed conflict, force soldiers to analyze the solve problems to meet the challenges of this real world training, the Army said in a release. The Reuben Siege has been conducted since 1974. So they're gonna do a little exercise training starting, I believe, the 22nd of January all the way to February 4th, along with the students, I believe, too. So these are showing signs of the times. Just if anything goes down, in Jacob's trouble, these U.S. armies, especially like the off-duty, off-guard U.S. soldiers, and these fighting guerrilla warfare freedom fighters as well too. Just in case anything goes down in the Jacob's trouble when that time come when it's being full effect. You're gonna see things like this. In instance, that's why they're doing this type of training. You're gonna see that in the days ahead when that Jacob's trouble coming to full effect. And I'm gonna bring out a scripture where it says the Egyptians should be against the Egyptians. Because modern day Egyptians are these Idumeans and the citizens, the Babylonians of this country. Because North America is the daughter of Babylon, modern day according to the Holy Scriptures. And this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 19, verse 2, and it reads, I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, and city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. You're going to have kingdom against kingdoms as well, too, and different nations of people going against each other. And when that time of Jacob's trouble come full in force and full effect, and they're going to fight everyone in their neighbors, everyone their brothers of their nations. And that's going to be all out, of all the nations. Because, you're going to have, when that time of Jacob's trouble come full force, because you're going to have all these countries, all these different race of people, they're going to be so afraid they're going to, be forced back and go back into their own country, when that time of Jacob's trouble comes in full effect. And then, like the scripture says, you're going to have Jake going against each other and going against these other nations as well, too. Because like the scripture says, Jake shall be a terror unto Egypt. Because, modern day Egypt is the daughter of Babylon, according to the Holy Scriptures, modern day. You're going to have that Egyptian going against Egyptian. You're going to see that when that time of Jacob's trouble comes. And that's why you see these little freedom fighters doing the exercise training right here, along with the U.S. Army. And this is a training for what to expect when the time of Jacob's trouble comes into full effect. You're gonna see the Egyptian going against the Egyptian, the Idumeans going against Idumeans, and the other nations going against other nations, and their fellow neighbor going against another fellow neighbor, of their nations. And they're gonna be different kingdoms going against different kingdoms, and that's around the world, not just only in the daughter of Babylon modern day, and around the world as well too. But when that time come, when that Jacob's trouble come, when it come into full force, you're gonna see things like this. These soldiers right here doing the little freedom fighter guerrilla warfare exercise training. You're gonna see that coming to a reality very soon. So with that, I hope this was edifying through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And first and foremost, I'd like to give all praise and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles, the great millstone, preaching his word, truthfully and sincerely. Shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching his word, truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching his word, truthfully, faithfully, strongly, and sincerely. Until next time, I will say shalom.